Alright, guys. Erica back with the essentials and some story time stuff. A lot of people have been asking what happened to my fingers. I've mentioned so many times on the channel that I've really messed up a lot of my fingers and broken like 4 of them and stuff. Because when you're talking about knives and deployment and working with your hands, that's just part of the discussion. And if your hands don't work correctly, it happens to flow into the conversation. Sorry, let me turn this off. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of touch on that today to answer that question. I made a video the other day talking about the carnivore diet that I have been dabbling in. It's been almost 2 weeks now. The results are absolutely incredible. I'm eating like a little bit of fruits and veggies, but mostly meat or like animal products. It's just working like really, really well for me. My body is like completely fucked up, which we're going to talk about in this video. But the diet, basically, no carbs, just a little bit of fruits and veggies, but mostly just meat. It is just doing wonders for my body. All of the pain that I have been experiencing is either gone or significantly diminished. Brain fog, gone. Mood, better. Emotional stability increased incredibly. Just, it's great. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the health struggles that I have had and how that diet has kind of helped, and it just keeps getting better and better, honestly. But just to give some backstory, I'll tell you guys what happened to my fingers and kind of just like what's wrong with me, really. Because there's a lot wrong. We all know that. I'm mentally tapped. We all know that. We've known for a while, but there are other things too. Go figure. So, yeah, I've talked about this in a video before, but I was very, very sick when I was in the 2nd grade. My Nana was brushing my hair one day. She was my primary caretaker for a good chunk of my life. My mom was in and out of surgeries my entire life. So my Nana, her mother, was my primary caretaker a good chunk of the time. And she was brushing my hair one day before school, and she gently grazed my neck with the hairbrush, and I started crying. And I had been hiding that my lymph nodes were severely inflamed and very painful. And when she pulled my hair back to look, my neck it had these massive bumps in it because my lymph nodes were absolutely huge. And, yeah, she, quickly called my mother. And I had very long hair, so, it was just kind of left unseen for a little bit, I think. But, yeah, she, called my mom. My mom had to make a doctor's appointment. They instantly were like, we gotta get these things out. Yeah, so, in the 2nd grade, I went in for a major surgery. They took out the majority of my lymph nodes on that side. If I remember correctly, they were nickel to quarter sized, which you're not even supposed to see your lymph nodes in your neck. But yeah, some of them were like quarter sized. They were so large. So yeah, those were taken out. But that left me very sick for the rest of my childhood. When you don't have your lymph nodes, you can't fight off illness. I was really sick most of my childhood. I missed most of my, field trips. I missed a lot of school. I remember being sick all of the time. My childhood was pretty compromised with my illness. To this day, I don't think I'll ever actually know the truth of what was wrong with me. I'm not ever going to know the truth about a lot of things about my childhood, but that's one of them. I just don't know what was wrong because it was never found. I don't know, right? But yeah, I was very sick. So, that has been compromising my body my entire life and still does. I've had quite a few injuries moving forward. I, at one point, was working with dogs as a career, and there was a dog fight where I was dragged through a playhouse by my elbow by a large dingo mix and 2 boxers. So they had my elbow, and they actually dragged me up the stairs through a playhouse during a dog fight. So from my elbow down, my movement in my left hand is really diminished. It's very hard for me to grip things. So I would figure maybe I have nerve damage. I didn't go to the doctor for that or anything, but yeah, my elbow hurts and it just shoots down into my hand. When I was, I don't remember the age, but I was roller skating one night and my next door neighbor, who was severely overweight as a child, fell on me and I went to catch myself, and this thumb actually broke when I went to catch myself on the gym floor, and it broke sideways. So that thumb broke. I did go to the hospital for that. Obviously, I had to be put in a little cast thing and stuff, but I was obsessed with Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube at that time in my childhood, and I took the cast off when nobody was looking, and I was up in my room with the door closed, and I would play GameCube, so I never actually really healed this thumb correctly. That was my own fault, but I would slide my little cast off and play Resident Evil up in my room for hours with a broken thumb, because I was so obsessed. So that never healed correctly. This one was cracked down this way by a friend playing hockey one day when she missed the puck, slid up onto the stick, and smashed my finger full force with a hockey stick. That one hurt. And then these two fingers were broken, and the tissue was blown through on both of them during a dog fight. That's the one that I have not talked about because it is very disturbing to talk about. However, I'm going to lightly talk about it right now. I don't want any questions about it. It's hard for me to talk about, and this is the first time I've ever talked about it, but I'm just going to kind of try to explain what happened. There was a time in my life a couple years ago where I had a large pack of dogs. My oldest male did not like being in competition with other males. I was a little uneducated, and I will never forgive myself for this, but I had another male that was unaltered, and I should have seen the signs coming that they would get into it at some point. And I think I ignored them because I wanted it to go away. I will never forgive myself for this. And one day they fought, and we had 5 people trying to separate the fight, and we just couldn't. They were that brutal. I will say right now, if you have 2 male headstrong dogs, and one of them is altered and one of them is not, 99.9% of the time they will eventually fight, and one of them will try to kill the other. I will say that right now. It's just nature, and one of them wants to be in charge. And that's exactly what happened, and I was trying to separate the fight. I had a wooden break stick. That's a stick that is made to break up dog fights. It's basically a long stick like this, and at the end it tapers, and you're supposed to put it into the hinge of their jaw. You slide it in with the thin part, but then you twist it to the wide part, and it's supposed to pop open their jaw. They can't help it. It literally releases their jaw, and you're supposed to be able to separate the fight. Unfortunately, my adrenaline was going so strong during that time, and I was so panicked that when I went to use the stick, my hand slid down the stick and into my dog's mouth. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional here. My hand slid into his mouth during the fight, and when he went to, and he was interlocked with my other male dog. And, wow, I didn't think I was going to get emotional about this. Sorry, I've never talked about this before. My hand slid into the back of his mouth where all of his sharp molars are, and he went to get another grip on my other male, and his teeth went through my fingers instead. And when I say through, that's not an exaggeration. His teeth actually went straight through the tops of these 2 fingers. And I remember screaming. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've never talked about this. The pain was so disturbing. when you have something go through your fingers and you actually watch it in real time, it's really wild. But yeah, so his teeth went straight through my fingers and then stayed like that because he was gripped onto my other mail. And yes, eventually I got my fingers out and stuff. But yeah, I've kind of tried to show that little scar before right there. The tissue was completely blown out on, it was falling out of my finger, on my middle finger, and then on this one it came out the side. Obviously I lost both fingernails here. It took a long time to heal those. I did not get medical help for those. I had a friend overseas help me over the phone with how to heal them. I didn't have medical insurance, so I couldn't go to the hospital, but we had to heal my mangled fingers at home. Thank God for Nicole Dodge. She helped me throughout that entire thing to clean them and keep them from getting infected. But yeah, the tissue blew out on both of my fingers, and I had to basically heal it back in. Lost my fingernails. The fingers were crushed. I mean, my fingers were mangled at the ends, dude. And from these two knuckles forward, the bones were just crushed inside. So now, because I didn't get medical attention for any of that, my fingers are in pain a lot, and they never healed correctly, and I cannot put any pressure really on this finger in particular, and then they just don't function like they're supposed to. Yeah, you know, just a lot of injuries, and you know, that's not all of them. Those are just the ones that affect me the most, but yeah. Though that's why my fingers are so messed up. That's why I have a hard time gripping things. That's why I talk about ergonomics with knives so much, because it actually really does matter to me. And obviously I've, you know, smushed all my other fingers in car doors and stuff like that. Like they're all kind of messed up, but those ones are the ones that got hurt the most. I'm constantly hurting myself. You could probably, you know, I have boo-boos and scars all over my hands all the time. I work hard and that's what happens. But that's a little bit of a backstory on some health struggles. And I've mentioned before, I have Lyme disease. There have just been some injuries and some sicknesses that I don't have insurance, and I haven't for a long time. And at the time of a lot of these injuries, I didn't have insurance. So it just, you know, you have to treat it at home basically. But, yeah, so that's why I started the carnivore diet, was to try and really help this pain that I'm always in. I have cysts under my kneecaps. That's from... I've never talked about that with anyone either. But now that we're going into mental health and struggles and stuff, I guess I can talk about that. The only one that knows about that is Nicole. Yeah, I guess we can talk about that real quick. Now that we're on the fucking struggle bus here. When I was younger, I used to self-harm. It started with... I used to sit up in my room if I did something wrong, and I would actually take my father's hammer and smash my own knees. I would, like, sit there and, like, smash my knees with a hammer because I was so frustrated with myself, and I hated myself so much, so that was my punishment to myself. And now I have cysts under my knees. I've never told anybody that other than Nicole, but that I used to beat myself up. I was so ashamed of who I was, and that was at a very young age. That was like, 9, 10. I used to just sit there and smash my own knees with a hammer. And then later on, it turned into cutting my arms when I was a teenager. Severe struggles with anxiety, depression, OCD that were just left untreated, essentially, when I was younger. So now, yeah, I have really bad cysts under my knees and bad knee pain because I self-harmed in that sense. But I will say the diet is helping immensely. I think the lack of swelling that was fueled by the sugar and carbs and stuff is really helping my body. Sometimes the best medicine for mental health and physical health is nature. I'm not saying I don't believe in medicine at all. I know it has its place. I'm just saying for myself, with no medical insurance, and I am unable to get help from anyone, for me, I had to resort to nature, which is food, being outdoors, drinking enough water, eating a proper nutritious diet that doesn't inflame my joints, basically. So my food has to be gluten-free, carb-free, really, which leaves me with fruits, vegetables, and meat. That's what I'm eating right now, and it's helping. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory on all of those injuries and why it's so important for me in particular to move forward with this carnivore-based diet. I have no choice. I have no medicine, I have no doctors, and I do have a choice in what I eat. And the carnivore diet is really helping me. But yeah, guys, it just, if you're struggling, there is hope. That's kind of the other point of this video. You know, I've had 5 suicide attempts. 6 including a time where I was sitting there planning it. And life is tough. It really can be, and I think some people are dealt a really shitty hand. But there is hope. If you believe in God, God will save you. If you do not believe in God, your friends and family and community in this world can save you. And if you don't believe in community and people, you have to believe in yourself to save yourself then, right? If you don't believe in anything, you're going to have to believe in yourself because you're the only one that can save yourself. For me, I think it's a mixture of all three. I had to find the power to save myself through the power of family and friends and community. Sometimes when I didn't even have that, so I really had to focus on myself. And for me, knowing that there's something out there bigger than myself really helped. But, you gotta find ways to make it through in this world. You just have to. If you're gonna be here, you have to. You have to be a warrior. And, yeah, I'm gonna keep fighting and keep trucking until I get to a good place. And it's been a struggle for 27 years at this point, but one day I will get there. I am determined. I am determined to get there. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that backstory with you guys. That's why my body is fucked up, and that's why my fingers don't work very well. I am blessed for everything I do have, though, and I am blessed to have the power to eat correctly to heal my body. So, yeah, hopefully that, hopes you guys understand a little bit. I love you all. If you are struggling, I am here for you. I love you. Okay? We all have to be here for each other in this world. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care of yourself. I really do love you all. Peace.